My name is Sandy Claycomb, and I'd like to talk about incorporating technology into my own future English classrooms. This is for Dr. Rutledge's Teaching of English class. So, first of all, I want to acknowledge that in my own high school, as far as technology went, we had smart boards and PowerPoint presentations, but the most we did with our writing was using Microsoft Word to type essays. And as far as disadvantages go for technology, I think that is a big one that future teachers need to think about. And what I mean by that is how some schools don't even have computers, whereas other schools can give computers to their students to take home. So I think it's a big thing to remember when incorporating technology that sometimes students don't even know how to use it. I think that's not only a disadvantage, but it's also something that we as teachers should remember that traditional pencil and paper and books, I think, should still have a position in the classroom. I personally like opening books because you can always write in the margins, and it's different when you're physically holding a book versus having to read it on a computer. Also, I think sometimes paper and pencil is a good idea to use for writing, especially if you're, say, taking notes from a PowerPoint or even if you're brainstorming ideas. I don't think we should do away with those so called traditional ways, but I also think we do need to incorporate technology as much as we can while still remembering, are students able to use this? Have they used this at home? Do they have technology tools at home too? There's just a lot we need to remember. But as far as technology goes, I think we do have a lot of really beneficial tools. For example, this presentation I'm using on Nearpod, which is similar to PowerPoint, but for teachers, it's very helpful because as I'm doing the presentation, I can include open-ended questions and fill in the blank questions and all these activities for students to complete as we're going through the presentations. Similarly, we also have iPads that are right at the touch of our fingertips. Same way with our cell phones. So a big game that I think is great for teachers to use is Kahoot, because one major advantage that technology has is increasing student interest and engagement. I mean, of course, it's very fast paced, but it's really important, I think, in English classes to try and keep the interest level up as much as possible because it's not everyone's favorite subject. Not everyone likes to read, not everyone likes to write, especially when they don't believe they can. So I think using technology tools is a great way to show students that even if they don't think they're a good writer, that there's other ways to do it rather than just typing on Microsoft Word. So we have other, say, iPad apps. There's EduCreations, there's Socrates. There's a lot of ways that students can write now without traditionally writing. And I think that's what technology is definitely going to better English classes with. I really do appreciate it, especially here at Cal U. I know I've been given a lot of tools and teaching strategies, but I would also like more exercise in using them versus just how Dr. Rutledge says, replacing them with more traditional ways. Still, I do believe in a lot of my future classes, I'm going to have to use technology, especially with the students I'm going to be teaching. These students are going to be a digital generation, meaning they've grown up using iPads and cell phones and having technology at their fingertips. So I'm going to need to incorporate that as much as I can, while me personally, I do want to still have traditional books. I think that teaching can also be fun for the teacher when we include technology, but we need to make sure we know how to use it as well. So I think in the end of the day, technology has many advantages. And I think even if teachers are set in, say, an old school mindset, they need to understand how these generations are changing and how we do need to incorporate technology. I also think that for writing, it doesn't need to just be you have to type a 5-page paper on Microsoft Word. I think writing we need to think of as a tool for thinking, a tool for expressing. And that can be done in many ways. It's just as the teacher, we need to include exercises and activities that show students it's not just writing traditionally, that they can show what they want to say in more than one way. And I think that will also help students get better self esteem, especially in writing. So I've really enjoyed researching all of this, and I think using NCTE has been very reliable. It's also been nice using learning communities to see how other practicing educators feel about it. For example, I spoke to a teacher from New York who suggested using TED Talks, assigning her students TED Talks. I think that would be really fun to do because they're incorporating that technology, but they have to write with it as well. She also mentioned about doing how-to videos on YouTube, which again will require them to write, but it is incorporating that technology, that YouTube, the internet, but they ultimately have to write it. They have to figure out what are they going to say, how are they going to do it, what are they going to use in the video. So at the end of the day, it shouldn't be that hard. But as a teacher, again, we always just have to think about all the aspects. Can my students do this? And I think incorporating technology and becoming more digital in the world is going to be very beneficial for us as teachers. Thank you.